Danky Emajiteni, Danky Welcome to the Ease Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Nkanyiso, your host. Shulex uzothi Wednesday wamajito lesithatha ama-arts niyazi nanze sibuyile bafethu angihambi ngedwa Danky Emajiteni.
Awe. Sikhona bafethu sikhona la ngemumva. Ngizosiza manje lesikhuluma nje ukuthi abafethu bakangaka bahleli balindile ithuba nayo ukuthi balithole olova masebelithethelile. But otherwise uandile uAce wakangcobo, uMahashule, uShulex mangabe senot. Ngiyazi-ke last time kanitshela ukuthi izazi zazi ukuthi nguba showcase.
Yes. Awisazi Shulex mesenot.
Sazi sasenot izinja.
Danky futhi coffee bean.
Wathi Danky mzala.
Danky mhlobo.
Danky futhi sithombe.
Danky futhi lokunjalo.
Angazi ukukhuluma ngani. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, uTeddy wakanzama, also known as uTeddy we coffee.
No punches. Danky bafethu ukhona uBrian ukhona uMekithi but abekho kilo khunjana basimele ukuthi abanawo ama-mic ke bafethu. This time came to umjagadula uAce uTen kambe Ace uTen
bayamfuna. Yeah, bakudinga nje.
Bangifunelani mfethu?
Afuna icarrot.
Ngenzeni manje?
Mr. Khalala uqala ubingelele kuqala uAce ngathi
Kancane ke indaba akabingelele.
Greetings to all the viewers. Sengibuyile. Today we're going to touch on lighter topics and we're going to be held accountable.
What's our lights, man? Let's come and test the lights. Astinge lights,
Why women who are raised by their grandmothers are like this? Women who are raised by
Nangu lo mjita bafethu.
What's your take on the last episode there? On our part one.
All right. I think the part one was positive. For those who watched the entire video, I think they understood where I was coming from. But as you know, with the internet, there's a lot of clips. Yeah. And some of the clips, I think, I won't say were taken out of context. They were taken in context. And I stand by my words.
Ukuthi ingane ekhulu zonke azikho right azibe singile
ngishongo lokho
wathi
ngathi mina in my experience when I was still dating I felt ukuthi people who were raised by both parents were more stable than women or people who were raised by a single mom, grandparents, etc.
Do you think that goes for both genders, Ven?
Yeah, that's where I was also meaning to go.
Both genders in the sense that if they were
even
raised
me,
by a father,
like if cheat, me, I'm raised by both parents or ugo,
I know definitely. The highest crime rates. This is a stat in the US.
Yeah.
Men, no, I'm just giving you stats. Men who are raised by single mothers have a higher probability of being criminals.
Okay.
That's just a stat. You see, the causality of that is questioned. But just to give you an idea, Uguti, there is a need for both energies. Both you want that masculine and also the feminine. So for even young boys who were never raised with a father, they lack that father figure and they turn out to be, the worst in society. But without, let me just put a disclaimer. There are exceptions to the rule. So even there's some grandparents that have done an amazing job.
Yeah, like my grandmother.
Yes, and there are other mothers that have played both the roles. So there is an exception to the rule. It was just a general observation. I wasn't attacking anyone. But if you felt attacked, let's leave it there.
No, nothing. I wanted to ask if he ever like got like any reactions from women when after that whole thing.
I went to work. Bangilanda emsebenzini. Yeah, no, it was interesting. But I would say most of the interactions were positive from both males and females. I think if you watch the entire podcast, you would understand that it wasn't about women or how women were raised. But if you only saw the clip, it gives that idea off, you see. But the people who watched the thing, I met a lot of people who would say, I know, we enjoyed the podcast. When are you coming back, you see? So it was very positive. There were a few exceptions at work. Some of the ladies came there demanding proof. But you had to just deal with them with some, decorum.
Nina bafethu ngicabanga kanjani like i-out ekhuluse i-oletic pen kunama chances amakhulu ukuthi ihambe yoganga.
Ngeke ngithi kunama chances amakhulu.
Yeah.
But kulula ukubona i-out ekhuliswe i-oledi phela ne-out ekhuliswe i-timer kuphela or i-out ekhuliswe isalukazi nekhehle or abazali bobabili. It's easy to see that. Kunezimo where i-out yabona ukuthi no la isandla se-timer esekule state sempilo akasitholanga. And also mawukhuluma nabo uyabezwa bona beyisho lento ukuthi okuse I missed this part empilweni yami. And leyo nto bayibona mase bekhulile isikhathi sesambili not ngaleso sikhathi leso besakuyona lo mpa. That's my take.
Yeah, but me, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But my observation is always like there's people who grew up with single parents. It's either a mom or a dad, and they grow up to be fine. There's no problem. They were taught isn't a right and so on and so forth. But then there's also those who were abakhuliswa umama oyedwa or umzali ubaba yedwa, but then abazali bebengazwani. So each time angabuthi ufuna ukukhuluma nobaba, they block you that chance ukuthi uthole umuntu ozoba father figure. In most cases it happens in families where uthola ukuthi waxabana umama nobaba, and then ukhuliswa umama kuphela. Umama ufuna ukuthi uzwe lento yena afuna kube yiyona yabo. They don't allow you that chance ukuthi uthole umuntu ozoba ubaba kwena kufundisa. Vice versa futhi nomuntu nomjid ozokhuliswa ubaba kuphela ongenayo umama. You understand? So it's different cases for every story. Omunye uzokhuliselwa ugogo, for example, njengoba Dosha, and most of us really contribution yagogo yohlezi ikhona. Yabo. And ukhuliswa ugogo it's always neutral because ugogo akanendaba ukuthi who's wrong and who was right. Again, ukhulisa nje ingane ayithandayo. But you guys can also add. But mina my observation is that because ukhona abakhuliswa umama kuphela, aba-grand. Yabo? Khona abakhulile emshadweni kodwa still abangekho grand because emshadweni beku-abusive.
Sure.
For example, the environment was never that much conducive for them ukuthi bakhule bekwazi ukuthi bayicabangele izinto every time, each time efuna something ngeo report yabo, mefuna ukuphuma ufuna yenza ukuthi, or sometimes bayamncisha even, yabo. But we can always talk about it ngama perspective angafani because I'm sure you have a different perspective to what I have.
Hayi mina ke ifanele mina mangase kuthe ngikhethe mina ngakhetha isalukwazi again.
But
I don't know.
Ekubukeni
But
kwakho.
what else do you know, Mfethu?
Yeah, wena.
Yeah?
What else do you know? Because you only raised once.
Yeah. Ukuthi lesi statement oqeda kushaya siyona ngisho nequestion uyangitshela ukuthi angiyazi le enye. Yabo?
No, ngiyabuza.
Yeah.
It's a trick question because it's easy to only speak from the experience you're coming from.
Yeah.
There's always an exception to the rule. You see?
Yeah.
There's, let's just some stereotypes. There's black people who think like whites. There's white people who think like black people. But in the general sense, we can say, no, this is how a black person thinks.
Yeah.
You see, so that's the case with those statements that I made. Uguti, generally speaking, based on my experience, very explicit, my experience, I noticed Uguti, no.
When I'm ngaze kuthe
To be raised by both parents for sure.
Yeah.
That's how I was raised.
regardless.
No, you see, and it's not that it was a perfect both parents.
Yeah.
They had their quarrels, but I'll give you an example. There's certain decisions I would never made if my dad was still alive.
Yeah.
Just because of the fear I had for my dad. My dad says no, it's no. My
Yeah.
mom says no. Why? We start negotiating, no ma. It's negotiating. That's how the home was for us. When my dad says 10 p.m. we're sleeping, 10 p.m., whether he's there or not, 10 p.m.
It's a cut-off time.
Yeah.
You don't want to meet him go 10, you see. But with my mom, let's finish this movie, ma, please. You see. Having that authority in the house was very important for me. Because I will also model that for my son. Uguti, there's certain things you don't negotiate with.
Yabo muyibeka kanjani, I think it's also unfair for me to just say ngikhuliswa ugogo kuphela.
Yeah.
Because there was a father figure okuwumalume. Yabo every time uphuma endleleni ngizonitshela uncle.
You see, that was your father figure.
Yeah, ngizonitshela uncle.
Mina, isalwazi nekhehla on my dad's side. Itime abil khona then,
Yeah.
but on my father's side, and then I have a brother yena okhulele side lama. Angitabo. So ngasho ukuthi I have a bit of understanding for both worlds. Angit kodwa ngala futhi njengoba ngisho ukuthi you were lucky ukuthi uyakhona ukuthi uncenga uma angithabo. Mina, my mom,
She was playing the role of it disciplinarian.
so and I saw that kubhuti wami angithabo ukuthi no i-old belumama lubaba
Sure.
angithabo makuthi no there is no why angithabo so that's why ngisho ukuthi you were lucky ukuthi uyakhona ukuthi ube noma ukhona ukuthi why and no ngiyacela kancane ngo10 and then la mashayile
Sure.
and that ubhuti wami ekhuliswe old and then mina ngala on my side very time if it's his time you'll always have fear for your dad.
Yeah.
Angithabo because even the space in the community like hey baba so and so
Sure.
and they've never seen him done anything.
There's that aura, that energy.
Yeah.
Even my dad, he's
Hey,
never
yes,
hit me.
Yeah.
My mom hit me so many times.
God
My
damn.
dad never hit me. But when my dad says no, it's no. My mom says no. Ma.
I think,
Ngizobuya manje, manje.
I'm not, but I think it's always the case because in most families,
Yeah.
abazali abesifazane ibona who are very quick to hit, yabo. But amajita they very strict. But then they never, yabo, they never go as far as ukukushaya. I don't know why. Because namekhaya mfethu angikhumbula umalume wethu sasisaba isho ukuthi meqhamuka wengakhulunyisi except for me mina ngimkhulumisi because angihlezi isho but I didn't do anything wrong so why funeka ngisaba umuntu but abantu abaningi ekhaya babemsaba lo muntu ohlalela yedwa yabo mina naye we even close because sasibuka naye ibhola yabo so njalo mekudlala ibhola ngifike ngihlala uduze wakhe ngibuka ibhola and then we end up having a conversation but indlela strict ngayo akukho la engathi khona hayi wakwacishe washaya the least azoyenza ukukutshela nje ukuthi ungakwenza ukuthi and masu abize ube ne one on one conversation naye that was it.
That one-on-one uzoyisabani.
yazi khona umunye usisoke wangitshela ukuthi kune group yeingane thizeni ezikhulu ezingenabo abazali okanye ubaba because of i-virus le-AIDS ukuthi ngiyakhohlwa ukuthi yiphi age group le yabo angazi noma ama-90s noma but i-majority yabo ikhule ingenabo abazali bobo-2 because of that so izinto ezikanjalo zingenze ngiyibuza ukuthi lokho kwi-impacta kangakanani society if we say society right ilene nabo does it have to be always like that noma that's a preferred way?
Preferred. It's definitely preferred because I think I don't know if it was Teddy accurately pointed there are families where they were both parents and bakhiphe any rubbish ehluphayo futhi
Iraskali yokugcina ngci into job effects ngabe
so there's always the exception to the rule but generally
you
know if you do society properly you want to have a nucleus home where there's a dad, there's a mom, and then ingane. That's ideal.
ukuthi ubaba uyadakwa nomama uyadakwa uma bedakwa bonke kulo mndeni ayikho ighost.
There's even a family I know, baphuza bonke, ney'ngane, but there's order in their home. You see, it's still a home. Noguti, it's just one ophuzayo. It's too dangerous because you only have that one idea in your mind. Noguti, this is what a man is, or this is what a woman is. So it's just always looking at that balance. Noguti, it's not. It doesn't have to be, but ideally, what the data is showing, Uguti, where there's a mom and a dad, the offspring has the best chances of succeeding.
You've once said something about wisdom. Nje ukhuluma kanje. I want you to add that as a disclaimer so that but mabelalele bezo understand.
All right,
Yeah.
okay. So the point he's bringing me back to is that when you listen to advice,
Yeah.
wisdom is knowing that not everything that is good must be applied. That's wisdom. So even if you listen to me speaking and I say, in a marriage, the man must hold the money. In your marriage, that might not work, even though generally that is good advice. So wisdom is being able to listen to someone, hear their opinion, analyze it, but that does not mean because it's good, now I must go home and apply it today. So that's it, disclaimer. So in everything we're saying, always have that ear to listen, but also have the maturity, the wisdom to know when to apply and when not to apply. Yeah.
Nice, clear.
Yeah, yabo. Wayivala kahle uJack ukuthi ubaby mama angajahi i-time ethi hayi sifuna ingane yethu ikhule nabazali bethu ngenkani kanti then they create ubudlelwano obungekho grand.
Ngokubuza labafethu. Kule family le kunobaba nomama nezingane. Khona yedwa uphuzayo. Which one is better than the other one? Makuphuza umama noma makuphuza ubaba. Which one?
Noma kuphuza ugogo kanye umkhulu khona la
Ngcono la.
I know, but that's a valid question.
Asithi bakhule bonke.
Asibayeke la. Asibayeke.
Ted, asithi sisonke.
No.
Asibeke eceleni yagogo nomkhulu. Uma nobaba oyedwa
Yeah.
uyaphuza umupho ongcono.
Hey,
Ongathi ayish
Alright.
makuphuza uma ngangcono o makuphuza ubaba ngangcono. Which one would you
I
prefer?
say ubab.
Why?
I'd prefer a dad who drinks noguthi umawuphuzayo.
Why?
Because remember, the roles are different. The person who's nurturing me must be sober than the person who's disciplining me. I don't know if you get that.
So ubaba yena mostly uyadiscipline kanye
His role, you see, his role is almost to bring things in. My mom is to nurture those things that have come in. He can drink, but still bring us imali. Bring in, pay the rent, bring food in the house. Apose. But my mom needs to cook the meal. It's just hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to take care of kids when you're not sober. You
phela
see.
kushuthi ama-roles azo-reverse kuzoba i-time elenza lezi zinto ekumele zenziwe umama
Edakiwe.
ngoba umama akekho responsible.
No, that's what
Phela
I'm
if
saying.
i-oledi liyashibiza kushuthi i-time ezothatha ama-responsibility okunecharisha
And then umama uzoyosebenza.
awuzositakeli oledi asebenza tako ya
No.
but there are families like that.
They are. That's what I'm saying. To answer his question, he's saying, would I prefer
Yeah.
a dad that drinks or a mom that drinks? I'm saying I would prefer a dad that drinks.
But in most cases, the dad that drinks, but violence.
Yeah, no. I don't condone violence. Any man, let me say this, Netu, I'm a cheat. If you're a man,
wayibona wakrosa
angifuni leyo. Lalela.
uyibona usenze ukuthi uthende khona isithembazana
Ayi.
uzongaqinisa
Violence nje asiyifuni.
no
Okay, let me say this, ne? This is to I'm a cheat, ne? This is to men. You don't hit a woman. Never find yourself in a position where you have to hit a woman. You rather leave. Don't hit a woman. Number two, if you're a man, even if you and you are cheat, worse if you have a kid, is a cooling ganyako. And you're not going to understand why cool. It's because when you're cheating, you're opening a gate to vulama soul ties. So if you're a man and you're watching this and you are cheat, this is a warning. Yeah, stop cheating. There's no glory in cheating. So this is to you men that want to cheat, especially if you're married and you have kids, because what you're doing is you're breaking a union that was established. This is a spiritual union that you did. And when you open it and you go outside, you're inviting spirits, and they always hit the kids first. So even you as wives, if your kid keeps getting sick left, right, and center, call your husband, Hlalan Phat, because these are just phenomenons of the spirit. It's hard to explain it logically. But as a man, you must love your kids. Love your kids and protect your home. There is no security for a home that's open. So men, stop cheating. There's no excuse. There's no, "Oh, my eyes led me." You must be noble. You must be faithful. There's no room for it. And if you are dating, start now. Because once you get married, you'll keep that same thing. Good to know WhatsApp. You have WhatsApp ngala, and then
So when laba bashadile.
sure. Nalaba badatayo wena
Nalaba badateayo.
Ungacheat. Sure.
Awukhuluma nalenye ijeda because besides men.
Ukhuluma nabafana namhlanje.
Bona it's fine, they can cheat bona.
No. Sikhuluma nabafana namhlanje.
Bona benze njani?
Sikhuluma ngani.
So
Yey.
but asijoli sodwa.
No. I'm
As
talking
Joel
to
is
men.
so-
Sikhuluma nabafana. You see the man that's defending himself, manje.
Yeah.
Angizidefend.
It's like
I'm putting it out there.
khona nabanye abatshotshayo.
I'm putting it out there. It's okay.
Yeah.
Sawuza le advice
Yeah.
yamagenga.
Vala na, sit with that advice.
Ukuthi machita asingacheat.
Singacheat.
Asingashaya abantu besifazane.
Yey.
But asithi abantu besifazane shaya namachita icheat. Osithini kubona.
Sikhuluma nabafana namhlanje.
Do you wanna go deep on that topic, Jack?
It's very important, you see.
Because I'd really have some follow-up questions because yabona nje busho kanjalo khona umunye umjitenge engahlangana naye. He was explaining the same thing. Uhlala la eThekwini usebenza eThekwini unamathekeni ayinqwaba. As a result khona ithekeni yakhe emithi. And every time he does something, so imithi semakhaya, every time he does something, ingane yaye ukunyakaza kulo sisi lo mithi, yabo? So but into engihalela ukuyi-understanda kukona lokho ukuthi so manje sinormaliziwe lento ayinokuthi manje kade lento yokuba polygamous kade ya normalize. So yona ke isebenza kanjani if
All
then
right. So the reason I'm saying ne, okay, let's put it this way. When we speak, you see, just that in our generation, honor is not there anymore.
Okay.
You know, in the past, someone could say, "I give you my word."
Yeah.
But if someone tells you today, "I give you my word," you're like, "Ah,
Exactly.
your word means nothing to me."
They even swear on their mothers what,
But they're gonna lie.
still,
Yeah.
You
it's
see,
lies.
so now that's what I'm saying, especially in marriage. When you're getting married, there's vows you make, that word that you give, and then you seal that bond by going to the bedroom with your wife. You seal that vow you made publicly before God, before man. You said, "This is my wife. The both of us are going to become one." You see, that's what creates the space. So now when you break that vow, you're opening for spirits to attack you. But a man who told his wife, "Mina, I'm going to have 4 or 5 wives," is different to you, Nkanyiso, that told the woman, "It's me, I'm giving you my heart. Me and you are one." You see? So it's all about the agreements you are making, those codes. Even though you can say words mean nothing today, it's on words that people are made and words that bring people down. It's just on words. A good word can connect you to millions. A good word can connect you to marriage. A bad word can kill you. Someone could say something bad and it leads you to your death because words have power. That's even in the physical. In the spiritual, it's even deeper. That's why you'll see a kid can be cursed and he goes and consults a prophet and they say, "No, it's your mother's words. You hurt your mother and she said words, and that's why you can't go anywhere in life." These are realities here in Africa. Everywhere in the world, it's a reality. When your mom speaks well of you, you're so glad to take those words as a blessing. So the same way in marriage, when you're telling a woman, "No, I will die with you. You are my ride and die till death do us apart, and then you're going to cheat. Those words become an altar. And then that altar there is going to bleed because when you're not faithful to that agreement you made. And then who gets the hiding? Your kids. Because they're a product of your union. And now there is an issue at the top. When the head, that's what I'm saying, especially men, when the head is not aligned with the body, that's when the problems begin. So even for that friend of yours, it could be that he promised that woman, would say, no, since now you're pregnant, I'm going to be faithful to you. Maybe he said those words.
Now those words.
You see in the room, Nkanyiso, that guy Ombono is scoring apart in the room.
No, but
it's a small boy.
I understand what you are saying, but no, because ngihamba naye ukhuluma nefone, ukhuluma nentombi yakhe, I'm like, you are sick in the head. But not ukuthi you are sick in the head, but you are sick. Sengisho lo sick lo ukuthi lo kukhona lo sick lo ukuthi fethu
Yakugula.
ukugula in a sense ukuthi uphile emhlabeni wakho wedwa ndawo omunye umuntu awumboni. Ukhona lo sick lo ukuthi fethu le conversation iqala because of i-conversation abenayo efonini. Ukhuluma nentombi yakho ufuna ukuyitshela ngenkani ukuthi kukhona enye ithekene nginayo, you can't do anything about that. Do you get what I'm saying? So iqala lapho. So I'm not saying I understand what you're saying, ne Jack, but to follow out le into yakhe yayi kanjalo yena okwakhe kusicilini, but lokhu ngiyakunderstanda nakho. Njengoba ubushilo phela ukuthi ngeke siyithathe lento ifithe exactly la ifitha khona.
Sure.
But do you understand why most men cheat? Do you have a general understanding of that?
Lack of discipline.
Yasukela.
Why usho njalo?
Why usho njalo? Uyasukela. Makasho. Uthi cheat and just not discipline.
Yeah, in most cases, but for someone who's not ready, I wouldn't say it's lack of discipline, because there's other people who just want the benefits of what happens when people are dating. I'm not cheat. I don't cheat. I don't have a girlfriend.
You've never had
don't
two
have a
partners?
girlfriend.
No, you've never.
I don't cheat on myself.
Hi man.
No, I man.
Yeah.
No,
I've never been in that situation. I haven't been in a relationship in the longest time.
No.
How long?
So you can't say I'm cheating.
No,
How
but
long?
kukhulunywa.
How long?
Uh-huh.
Very long.
No, makashula umbuzo uthi awukaze wa cheater before. Even ngalezo sikhathi kusajola.
Ngoba 1991.
Maybe not relationship wise, but there's other things you cheat on. It's like you made a promise to do something and you didn't do it. That's also cheating.
No,
but in a relationship sense,
relationship,
no. I don't cheat. I'm not a cheater.
Imashulex him. Okay. Asike ngokucheat. Usukwalala nengintombazana. Mhlawumbe uthini the same month wabulala nenye. Hayi asitha ujoli.
That is not cheating.
Asiyeke ukujala.
That's not cheating. That is not cheating. That's why I said.
Wake wathi. Ulale nenye.
Chaza lento ukuthi if akasivumelana ukuthi uyajona then ngingenzeka
No, it's not cheating. Jack, am I lying? If I'm not dating you, but there's things like your I wouldn't say one night stand because it sounds very bad. It sounds very bad, but
I don't endorse any of these things.
umuntu olalele conversation iqala yasho ukuthi ayishulex umuntu right kodwa manje maselikhova kanje.
No, but there's an agreement sometimes. Let's say it's because that's why I said there's people who enjoy benefits of being in a relationship, but when they're not, that is your sexual intercourse and kissing and whatever. But there's people who are genuinely pure. Like if it's I abstain, I'm not sleeping with anyone. And then there's abantu data then who cheat. Because just to have multiple partners. And there's someone like Kuchek at them cars also unfaithful because akakwazi ukubehave, like there's no discipline.
Thanda yonke into.
Yeah, ufuna yonke into. So, but also because Jack was also speaking about this, I had a conversation almost the same with you. I have a conversation with someone, 2 conversations. This is the first one. Do you guys think? Let me start. Do you guys think polygamy is a what do you call what's that word? This word?
Sin.
No.
Misogynistic.
No. Do you guys think a tribe, it's a tribalistic thing?
No.
Because someone asked me, would say Zulu people
No, yenzeka nakumanye ama.
polygamous, they have that polygamy mindset because they're Zulus. And I said polygamy has been happening in all over Africa. So you
All
can't
over the
say-
world.
Not even Africa, all over the world.
So what's your take in that thing? Because I was having a conversation with females, and till today most females don't understand the concept behind that thing, and they think we want that because we just want to have multiple women.
Nokukhona kwenye country la i-art nje kumele ishade noma unkosikazi about 2 or 3.
Why do women not understand ukuthi mhlampe there's a main reason for this thing, or maybe is there any reason for men to have this 4, 3, 2 women married to them?
All right, this is my personal opinion. Very specific. I know.
Sayisusa kodwa.
Masklipa phela vele sibheke.
All right.
Siqala la
No. This is what I'm going to say, ne? I don't believe in polygamy.
You don't.
Yeah, like, I believe that one man, one woman. That's my personal belief.
Yeah.
Based on how I was raised and based on my values, Christian values.
Yeah.
Uguti, one man, one woman. However, I do see people who prefer, even in the Bible, there's Solomon, who had 300 wives and I think 700
Yes, sir.
concubines, or it could be
My
vice
girlfriends,
versa.
yeah.
I think 700 wives, 300 concubines. But his life did not end well. So that's also a message to men who want polygamy and they want to have multiple wives, that you must really ask yourself, what are you looking for? Why do you want many wives? Like, what is the purpose? For some men, it's ego. But
Now.
yes,
Now it's ego.
and a lot of it in the past, I think it could have been economical, it could have been strategic, it could have been population. There could have been genuine reasons why a society would shift in that direction. But a lot of it now, it's clout. It's also a sort of an identity for some tribes. Again, that's what I'm saying. So I do see people do it, but personally, I don't think it's the best way to formulate a society, because it's very difficult to have one wife. It's even harder. And I can't speak from experience, but I can just speak from what I see. There's even this show on TV where this guy is failing his 3 or 4 wives, but he wants to add another one. I understand. So it's that. When I observe it, I don't see it to being practical. Maybe that's because the men who try to do it are just not capable of handling multiple wives. And I think in the general sense, most men can't handle themselves. So it's a stretch already to try to handle one woman. What gives you the audacity to think you can handle more than one? Like, that's my question to guys who want that. Like, you can't manage yourself. Okay, let's say you stretch and you take a wife under your wing. You can't manage you and your wife, but you want to add another one. That's dangerous.
Have you seen a polygamous successful?
I've never even heard of.
Oh,
Not that
that's why uzokhuluma kanjalo.
Yeah,
Because
well,
it goes back to you saying that umuntu okhule engenabo abazali, they do not know anything else. It goes back to that because kukhona ama-cultures, Jack, njengoba sisho ukuthi worldwide abantu abayenza kahle,
Bakhona.
yabona ama-families akwazi ukuyi-structurisha kahle, it becomes the best, because this is one of the things that ukuthi I don't want to sound like I'm promoting
becoming
it, yes?
the best, but
No, I don't.
siyakuzwa,
Yes,
yeah.
I don't want to be someone who glorify, but I want us to have another perspective. Ukuthi the reason why into kanjalo iphinde isebenze is because sometimes nje ukuthi wena kunzima ukuba nonkosikazi oyi-1, kunzima because usuke ene-burden eningi angeke akwazi kwezinye izinto ukuzenza, usuke forced ukuthi akenze izinto ezinye angakwazi kuzenza. Uyayizwa? So kudala wayefike athi unkosikazi omdala umehluleka somewhere, kuletha unkosikazi omncane ozofitha ini kuleyo role le. even nakwamanye ama-cultures abanye futhi basuke beyenza ukuconsolidate wealth, and it makes a beautiful thing uma usuyibuka okanye uma uyelandela abanye abayenzile aba-successful. However, it was mostly for that ukuthi if unkosikazi omdala akakwazi ukwenza ukuthi okanye useyahluleka ukwenza ukuthi khona omunye ozongena bese kube khona omunye ozongena, and then yehlisa i-load, yehlisa ama-expectations kuwena ubaba ukuthi uzodemand ukuthi unkosikazi oyedwa awadlale wonke lama role because lento kanje ukuthi thina siba nenkinga yokucabanga ukuthi njeba ngithandana nalomuntu uzonginikeza konke lokho engikudingayo and ngiyakufuna kumele nginikeze because ngibhayindwe kuyena, of which that's not true. Umuntu nomuntu lama limitations akhe, and la ama limitations omunye phela khona qala omunye ama advantages omunye. That's how it works.
Not to cut you, ne?
Yikho inkinga ungangikhathi bro.
Lento ukhuluma ngaso, is this theory or ukhuluma from experience or
Experience ephi Jack ngikashadi mfethu ungangidlali ngami.
Experience can also come from something your uncle. You've experienced this thing you're talking about, because I'm not disputing, but it sounds very theoretical. Okay. It sounds like the best case scenario of polygamy would look like this.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, theory.
Okay.
If you really want to dismiss what I'm saying, I agree with you for the sake of
no, but I'm not dismissing. I'm just making it clear.
If you do not want to consider this point of view,
no,
then it's okay.
No, But I just want to be clear, Uguti. That's very theoretical. Uguti, in reality, that will never happen.
It does happen. Just when I was.
Okay. The first thing umbuzo kufanele sizibuze yona. Isukaphi indaba yesithembu. So lento esiyenza njengamanje siyakhuluma and ukukhuluma lo kukhulunywa Nkanyiso kuyikona ku right ne, but ayiqalanga lapho. Umsuka wayo usuka from kumhlaba. So mawilandela ubuyele emakhaya there is this thing ukuthi angithi uyazi ukuthi kuneyinduna. Induna, so if you want is more land, indlela ayingakhona ukukunika ngayo more land ukuthi uthathe omunye umfazi so that they can give you. Leyo isuka ekuthenini indoda inonkosikazi wayo isineyinkomo eziningi, too much cows for lo mhlaba senawo. Mayofuna more land so that izokwazi ukuthi abe na more space for ukhulisa imfuyo yakhe, then induna would say I can't just give you umhlaba without. So ila iqale khona people beba nomhlaba befuna more land, thatha more wives. That's why nezindlu zakhona nokwakhiwa khona behlukene kuthiwa ikamasbanibani lapha nikamasbanibani lapha, but there is one big fence ebiyelile. Bonke bangaphakathi fence eyi-one but different ila isuka khona. From then iyake isiya lapha kule Nkanyiso ukuthi uNkanyiso manje ufuna ingane eziwu-15. Ungakhona yini wena umnika uNkanyiso ingane eziwu-15?
Sure.
No, mina ngakhona ukumnika 5. Angithi yabo angene lo wesibili ezoletha na uNkanyiso ufuna 10 la kwena. Ungakhona na? Angithi yabo ayingakhona nami u5 kungena owesithathu uhlangane lo 15 kuyona vele lo mhlaba lo mkhulu. I think kufanele si understand eqala ukuthi isuka before we even, because okwamanje siyikha phezulu and ukikha ukuthi uphezulu that's why kuzoba ukuthi okay lento esikhuluma ngayo it's theory or what. Mina ke lokho engikhuluma ngayo ikhehla elizala isalukwazi sami bese nesithemba amakhosikazi amathathu.
Danky
inzalo yaso.
Keep with theory wathi na reality nangu umuntu oyiphilile.
So isalukwazi sami was the first wife. Angithaza ukhokho was the first wife. Kwathi indodakazi yakhe she only had one daughter, ugogo wami. Also ugogo wami naye wayesesithenjini onkosikazi oqala. Angithabo. So mina ngiyasazi
wena ukhuluma into engiyibonayo simanje wena ngiyayibona ke yakho. But let me say this again. In the beginning ngithe my opinion is one man, one woman. But I know there is, even in India, there's societies where one man 14 wives
Yeah.
and like 100 and something kids.
Yeah.
It happens. But in the general sense, most men, especially today, don't even try. No
but
one
I'm
is
just-
giving you additional land for every way. No one is going to give you additional land for each of your wives. Just okay.
We're doing it for wrong reasons
Yeah.
now.
Yes.
Ukuthi I can afford the same. That's why ngicabanga ukuthi I can. And then leyo indlela leyo-
Inzima, mfethu,
Angithi yabo,
isithembu.
isithembu sethu samanje abantu bakhona into abazakhela yona.
Yeah.
Kanti into esuka kude, into yamakhehla and stuff. Angithi yazo.
And you see the one you
Uyabona,
said, it
amakhosikazi
makes sense.
ngawona
ukuthi
wabo.
I want to increase my territory.
Yeah.
I get an iyenza sense. Wena-ke uhlala eThekwini eflat.
No, I think one of the reasons why I asked you, do you guys, because I think because if you guys think it's a tribalistic thing, because in most cases, abantu bazothi no siyayenza because it's KwaZulu Natal and it's more famous here in KZN, you understand? And so in that way, mhlampe, hayi ngoba seThekwini KwaZulu Natal mhlampe sebeyayenza just because they want to exercise that power ukuthi bezulu bona. You know how sometimes people think. And another thing that as they were having a conversation, I'm also just thinking yababuka bexoxa ukuthi why abantu besifazane bengathandi ukuba kuyona isithembu? Is it because they're jealous, or is it because I feel like if umuntu ozothatha isithembu, one mina ngihambiselana naso like njengoba usho now. But my reasoning for that is because I also come from a family where my grandfather had like 5 wives. What I don't like about this term is when as umuntu obunesithembu, you are now gone. It leaves a mess in the family. There's a whole mess.
Kuyaliwa, sure.
Esala egcekeni because when I was sick, because now you are managing personalities abantu about 5. Yabo? So what happens, because nalo oqala wazi ukuthi uyena, and laba njengoba bekhona bonke baneyingane. Imagine now in a scenario where boba 5 baneyingane zabafana and zonke ley'ngane zabafana, they think ukuthi no thina la ekhaya thina thina badala, because nasendlini yama wakho yena omdala. Now in your mom's house wena omdala, in his mom's house yena omdala. So it just leaves a mess, a whole mess. Into engamanageki. And makes sakhona when you are able to manage this thing very well, yabo? So I think it's good, but as long as kusakhona umnikazi waso. The minute you gone, it leaves a whole mess, yabo? So I was just thinking lokho nje ukuthi yini eyenza abantu besifazane bangasafuni ukuyi-subject to that kind of relationship, so ukuthi there's one or more abantu abajola nabo, yabo?
I think the messy part of this thing, le uchaza ngala, lento le easy and clean phezulu. Ngale ndlela ukuthi kunonkosikazi oqala. So indodana yenkosikazi yokuqala is the first person ukuthi noma kuthiwa itime akuyenzakalani uyena muntu before lo wesibili owesithathu iqala from unkosikazi oqala. Njengoba benenamba kuno number 1 2 3 ihamba nje kanjani.
No, I mean, I said I get that, but the problem is it's easy to say that when
Theory.
umuntu umnikazi waso esakho, you know, when he's not there, everything changes, bro. Trust me, ngisho kuthiwa bebe obheya kanjani, it's like lento ade yisho uJack ukuthi for as long as in your house ubaba wakhe khona, you know ukuthi by 11 fune siyolala. If ungasekho, you know ukuthi, but the minute engekho ubaba kuseluma wakho senya negotiate. It goes back to the thing.
I think into
for as long as
about
kusakhona
it's succession plan ne-leadership ye-time. Because if i-time alikwazile ukulida kahle ne-succession plan iqondile and ama-houses wonke are-united, it becomes a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Because
it's
sonke
difficult.
siba nama-meeting, kuya-understand ukuthi okay nanzi irole kabani, nanga ama-strong point. Intwana le ndala nanga ama-strong point ayo, intwana le ncane nanga ama-strong point ayo, umama omdala nanga ama-strong point ayo, umama omncane nanga ama-strong point ayo. Yayizwa leyo nto?
I think elinye iphuthe elenzala la ukuthi bayihlukanisa, bafuna ukuyihlukanisa lena. Kanti lento kusuke kuyinto eyodwa. Angithi ayizwa lona. So singayihlukanisi. So njengoba manje usuthi sekushona itime njengoba bela bayifamily eyi-1 at the end of the day.
Bonke, yeah.
Angithi ayizwa lona. So mina for example, ikhehla lami ilona elashona kuqala. Amakhosikazi alo lonke sakhona. Nengane le enikhuluma ngayo manje engayi-experienceanga le nxushunxushu lezi yonke nje understanding ikhona till thina siyazi ukuthi nje indodana ekhona yekhehla esaphila unkosikazi wesibili because unkosikazi wakhe wokuqala umuntu abenayo kwakuumuntu wesifazane so thina umalume siyazi noma kuthiwa kunjani noma kuthiwa kwenzakalani silanda umalume even edladleni kumuzi njengoba mase kwahlukana ngalendlela okwenza ngayo unomuzi kwamasho unonkosikazi omdala unkosikazi wesibili unomuzi emakhaya naye masenza izinto ekhaya la kwamasho sizobiza umalume le kube uyena ozowenza lezo zinto lezo angithi yabo so if uzofuna uyihlukanisa ngalendlela ukuthi ukomunye umndeni and stuff.
No, I think what I think he's trying to say is that in theory or in some cases it happens like that. But for many it's difficult because remember it's this thing of personalities. That son must have a strong personality.
Why are you convinced good learn theory then?
I know, maybe I'll understand what's a theory.
I'm trying to understand.
No, what I mean by that is it's easy to speak of an individual instance as if it's the general rule. As soon as you go into general rules, you need to start to speculate. For example, the firstborn needs to have the capabilities to lead. Not all firstborns are born that way. I can give an example. My family and my brothers, we're very strong together. Like, there's no scenario where my brother will turn on me. But when I study my cousins, they're not as strong as we are, such that I can talk to my cousin badly about his brother. Did you understand what I said, ne? I can talk to my cousin bad. No cousin of mine can come to me and talk about my brother badly. It will never happen. As soon as you start that conversation, I say, no. I disagree. Because that's my brother. It's my personality and the way we were raised. So it happens that the father could be bright. There's disputes for wills where the person has written where the things must go. And it gets to a point where they are killing each other because of that. So you can't negate that reality, Uguti. When you're dealing with 5 women, 5 different personalities, the first woman could be perfect and understands the role. The second one could be perfect. The third could be the problem. Tell their kids, Uguti, no, we're not going to accept what the first woman is saying. We need to go to war with the first woman, and you have chaos. And that is things that happen. Even though what I'm saying now is theoretical, but it's something that we can all say, no, that's a possibility.
Yeah, and in temnandi ukuthi uqale ngokuthi awukwazi usibona isithembu esisebenzile. So you can say whatever you want to say because then we understand ukuthi you come from that side.
Yeah, no, but
I need to make that as a foundation.
No,
so
ufuna usho something.
Because Jack.
No, Nkanyiso, you're not listening.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this. Utheti une experience.
Yeah.
Ne? But his experience is in opposition with the other man's experience.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that in my experience, even if I go biblically, Solomon imhlulile isithembu.
That's not experience, that's Bible.
No. What experience is subjective.
Yes.
I gave you an example. I said you might have, like Yena, Utedi, he's never experienced this thing.
Okay.
Now his perspective is based on what he saw. He could be wrong. There could have been a big fight for that stability that he's talking about now. The mothers could have hated each other. He doesn't have any experience, but we're taking the story of what he's seen as experience in this conversation. So it's easy to say, no, that's not experience. But in actual fact, none of us here has an actual experience because none of us has more than one wife.
Yeah.
We are born. So I just want to make that clear. Don't be confused, Guti. When I'm making these points, I have to play the devil's advocate in a way.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the idea to come out to people saying, Guti, no. We're saying that if you have the capabilities, go and marry more wives. What we are saying is that there are cases where it works, but there are also cases where it doesn't work. That's what the viewer needs to take.
Yeah.
In his one room, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just forget about that thing.
No, I mean, that's the point that I wanted to drive. Not to say it's right, not to wrong, because ngapela we are facing now a situation esikuyona. Abantu bacabanga ukuthi ithembu nje it's a must. without even understanding what does it take and what is it for. So and also I didn't want us to say isithembu si wrong.
Yeah.
Kodwa sibe singabaveza ama benefits aso nokuthi asenzelwane, yabo. Khona abantu abasenza ngendlela erong, kusikhona isithembu esi right. Ikhona imindeni esingayibala umzekelo serious, but ukuthi asikhulelanga kuyona kusho ukuthi asina experience yayo.
Sure.
But as long as we agree ukuthi si right, si wrong, but wena uma ungekabi naso stability sokuthi
Yeah, guys, don't even try.
ngisho naleyo kucheat nje ube kancane kuyo.
Uthi I'm ngiyapractice angifuna uba ne-step. No, uyacheat.
But yazi funny enough kukhona enye into eyenza amajita cheat Jack, of which angazi noma yenzeka yini emantombazaneni leyo ukuthi uthola ukuthi umuntu is looking for a partner, but now I understand the process yokubheka partner kahle.
Sure.
So as a result uthe shela amantombazana awu5 esabashela Jack ne engeke enzi lutho kuvele kuqome 3 sekumele manje ajule naleyo 3. Do you get it? Because akayiphanga isikhathi sokuthi ahlale phansi abuka ukuthi nangu usisengathanda ukuthandana naye, date kahle, then they go through the process. No,
Sure.
He was trying his luck out of desperation ukuthi uhlala yedwa and manje sekumele explore ama option now.
Sure.
And then I end up that's another way.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
And okay, when I said discipline, I said the first one was self-discipline. It's not the only one.
Yeah.
Some men cheat because they struggle with lust.
Yeah.
Like he grew up addicted to porn. Like after he sleeps with his wife, his mind is still active. Like he wants to see more. He wants to explore more. That's why I always say, if you're a young man, avoid porn. Because what it does to you mentally, you won't see it then. 10, 20 years, 30 years. And I'm not speaking from my own experience. I've read books. No, because I'm not 30 years. No. I know. No, because someone is going to watch this thing. Someone is going to watch this thing and say, Jack is not 30 years. Why is he saying 30 years down the line, this is going to affect you?
Yeah.
I'm trying to show them, I've seen people who are struggling with this thing. If you go on YouTube, there's a whole series on people who struggled with porn addiction and what it does to their marriage. So what I'm saying is, if you're young now and you battle with lust, fight that battle. Go to Christ. Go to church. Fight that battle. Because you won't see the effects today. But when you get married and you need to think of other things to be satisfied, that's when that gap starts to open. So there's people who cheat because of that. After they've slept with their wife once, twice, there's now a desire for more. Like, they almost feel like she doesn't look as good as she looked. Or she's not doing the things he remembered watching. Because some of those things, those people are paid actors. They're acting. Even the way they are showing expression, it's an act.
Oh, yeah,
No. Of course.
From manje to
Lalela. No.
indlela sichaza ngaba
Ukusiza abantu.
expression yokhona
No.
ngiyakula
Angishongo ukuthi I've never watched. Lalela.
experience check ngiyona theory
Lalelani.
Ayazi check leta khuluma.
No, bafethi ngayon anlalela.
Even the way yabenza.
No, bafethi ngayon anlalela.
Yadlala kamnandi. Check
No, check.
Yabona mhlawumbe.
No, bafethi anlalela. I never said ukuthi I've
No, make
never
your
watched.
point,
No,
Jack.
I've
No,
definitely
please.
watched.
No, don't try to explain.
No, I have to explain. Because if you know not your problem, because ngicazela nina. Angichazeli nina. Khona uzoyibuka le video ne? And they won't have that context.
but nabazoyibuka njengathi ngoba iclip izophumisa njalo
Bazobona iclip kuphela
Bazobona
bathi
njalo
wena check. All right, Bafethu, let me get back to the point. So the point I'm making is that it's very dangerous long term. So abstain, because the reality of things is most things happen in your mind as a man. You can choose to experience things mentally. It's very true. So when you expose yourself to that type of things, it's going to affect your marriage because it might not be what you watched. So you start seeking what you watched. So that's another reason people cheat. Ego is another reason people cheat. And then self-control, that goes into self-discipline. But the remedy for me is one. It's firstly Christ. You need to be centered. And I can only speak from a Christian point of view, Guti. It's idle hands that create mischief. You know, when you have nothing to do, that's when problems begin. Don't find yourself idle. So fill your life up with good things that you are doing. And then work on self-control. So this is something I learned back in the days, because I think in the last episode I said I had my time of, yay.
No, more than 700 years old.
Lalela. I had my time, and some of the things I experienced was there were things that would almost lead me on to. So for example, I could have 3 days of pure abstaining until one day of scrolling and seeing hands on TikTok and scrolling. Then it brings a desire in me. When I go out, that thing is playing in my mind. I need a hand today. I need a hand. Nila Buffett. Because I was triggered by what I exposed myself to. So I'm not saying you won't look and you won't see, but understand that you almost build appetite. It's like, why does KFC put a big billboard of a piece of chicken there on the road? It's not that you can buy it off the billboard, but they want you to see that so you can build appetite. Same thing that happens with men who cheat. It first starts by looking. Even David in the Bible first looked at the neighbor's wife. Then the next thing, Mamasha. So the same way with you need to understand, Uguti, this thing of cheating, as much as I can sit here and say, hey, men don't cheat, it's not pointed to you, it's pointed to myself. Because I'm also a man who's married, a man with capabilities, a man with income. And it's one thing where you go out and cheat, and it's another when they are coming to you so that you can cheat. So if you are failing the battle of you yourself going out, once you have, and they start coming to you in all shapes and forms, all heights and complexities.
No, I don't think ikhona manje amaningi aka-experience lo mpahla, Jake. And I think that's the hardest test.
Yes, when they start coming.
Masebe shayisa.
So you need to work on your discipline. You have to have self-discipline, because I'll give another reason for gents. The world we're living in now as men is very dangerous. Nkanyiso, they can kill your career with an accusation. Your all the things you do, just the accusation. Just a picture from inside this place, this mirror. And then Nkanyiso did. You're gone. There are people bigger than you, more money than you. An accusation took out their whole career. So in a world that's so dangerous, when Oshadil wenzani with uzoboshwa.
Uyayibamba umjakati. Uyayibamba namhlanje umjakati.
I don't want to go too far. I'm attacker. But I'm speaking to men. I'm telling you, Uguti, days where it was easy, because it was easy for your parents. There's no Facebook, no Instagram. Uzo trenda. Stop that thing that you are doing. Even though they haven't caught you today, what about tomorrow? Stop. Even if you're going to stop because of the fear of losing what you have, just stop. There is no benefit in being unfaithful. Because even in business, if you are unfaithful in your marriage, how can I trust you in business?
Ngisalalele nje kuza naye.
Lezeshaya inyuke ngempela, Jake.
Yeah, so,
Ziyasicalisela.
no, I'm just saying.
Ngiphathela abantu le-Bright and Center. Kodwa sishaya nebhizinisi. Like, yabona.
But also, I'm sorry to disturb you. I'm sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
But also, so one would argue that, especially now, because you keep referring to what used to and how things used to happen before. Today, women don't care. As long as there's money, they're fine. So you can, and go as far as you can, advocate for them. Good to know about business, about cheats and whatever. But today you can have a girlfriend, la manye waphe nje imali and wenze utsahleze happy. And azokuthethisa obvious ukuthi why unale uthandana nabantu abawu3 but umvala ngemali njalo uthula. Uyathula. Yabo? Because that's what it has turned to today. ukuthi bona bayifunela nje imali. That's why I always say this. Amantombazane afuna imali. Irregardless ukuthi wenzeni, they don't care. They want stability, they want to be fine. Even worse, abafuni ukusebenza, but they always want money. You understand? So you can advocate for them, but sad reality is they want money.
I'm
They only
advocating for men. I'm not advocating for the women. I'm warning the guys. Stop cheating. You see, the person you're cheating the most is yourself. And that's just the reality of it. Again, that's what I'm saying. It's all about agreement. If you told your wife, no, Mina, you're not the only one for me. You're the first. I have nothing to accuse you on. But you told your wife. But when you stood there in the outside, what you know, when you're my one and only, I will die with you. And you brought kids in this world. And you need to cover these kids by respecting that agreement you made. That's all I'm saying. I'm not fighting with men. I'm not saying I'm better than men. I'm saying, as a man, build the self-discipline to control yourself. Because, yes, there are cases where I know someone who has multiple women and they know Guti, he's playing them, but it works for him because he's not married. There's no reputational damage that he can take from a marriage point of view. But it's dangerous, the life he's living, because any one of those girls, I'm not giving women ideas, but any one of those girls can end his career and say, no, this person did this to me forcefully. I don't know, there's this YouTuber guy that just went to the UK where he was accused now, he choked her in the room. He's on that big podcast in the UK. Just an accusation. Before the trial, even Danny Alves, the soccer player, he just got found innocent. He lost everything during that scandal. He started living with Neymar. And that's Danny Alves, played in the World Cup. When
All Cups.
you're working at Sanlam, Musebenze Discover, working at Nedbank, is a pale career.
Jack.
No, bro, if they can take out Danny Alves.
Jack, man.
That's okay. Let me stop. Asikhulume ngamantombazane.
Jack.
Ngathi bayetha abafana
Uthini
namhlanje.
ukusebenza Sanlam?
Jack ukhani sisitephe ema-outing. But hey, ukuthi lo mhlaba esiphila kona manje complicated kakhulu.
It's too much, Nkanyiso. Just
Because yabo even
accusation.
ne-message yakho
Cruel.
ibalulekile, but uma uzama ukuyi-simplifya isafithi la kumele ifithe khona. Because nabantu bakuma-levels angafani.
Abafana.
Baku-TikTok bonke, baku-YouTube bonke, kodwa bakuma-levels that are completely different.
Some of these things are for married men, especially married
Jackie
men.
kukhona i-out eshadile njengamanje e-faithful enayo yonke inyuka e-provide unkosikazi but still akuhambi grand. And temptation elanga emuva ile ukuthi mfethu nangu sibongile mfethu.
Right, akathethi.
Nangu usibo. Twadla. Yabo sokunezinto ezinje. Nangu amambaliza ngeke uyamazi ukuthi amambalize. Ngambali nosine ungaloko. Yamanje.
But
Yabo so it's kanjalo but you are trying to simplify
it's
a
difficult.
message that
It's
is so
difficult.
and that's why most of the stuff umuzama ukuyilendisa ku TikTok it really does not land because if
You see, the same way the women were bashing me,
Yeah.
uzobona abafana bazothi wena unjani. Sakhumbula wena Jack. You
When
were
I
doing-
checked, have you ever cheated before?
Not in marriage.
Jack
I'm shutting.
No, I'm
hey.
not saying that,
Ted,
Jack.
Before
Ted, you can't ask those questions to a married man.
Yeah.
Ungathi yakhohlwa ukuthi uJack ushadile.
I no.
ayilungise mani
No.
ngoba basomngena
It's fine.
No.
uJack
Bazomveza.
mfethu ushadile
Oh,
so
bra
awukwazi
wakhe.
umbuyisela emuva.
obra wakhe bazothi wena check siyakwazi.
No, that's what I'm
Ah,
saying.
we have
I'm
to talk
ready
about
for that.
it,
In the
talk
past,
about
of
it,
course, in the
yeah.
past. In the past, we all have a past, but your past doesn't define your future.
Wena
It's the
waba
present.
nokhunja?
I
Wena
would
waba
say,
nokhunja?
namanje.
hayi mina
Hayi nje uthethike ntwana ngamfela ke lapho ngathi hayi ntwana yami ngiyayazi.
I know, you see, that's beautiful.
Mangasebenza.
Faith.
Ungamphatha uTed zika nje uzokcross athi afetha mina sengiyahamba.
Ngiyakhumbula nje le- After the second phone call, they shake out saying, "Nyaka."
understand. Wakwa-cheat.
Mfethu hayi. Angisiboni isidingo, akaze ngasibona isidingo.
Serious?
Yeah.
So awukwazi ushela abantu abawu-2 ngesikhathi sesodwa. Ukushela nje, not even ukujola nabo.
I think kwakona nje mfethu. Hey. Bengakaze ngibe umuntu
Omuhle la.
okukhonzile. I think ngibe busy kakhulu from ekubeni intwana nje with sports and stuff, which izinto eziningi zingijampile nani.
So uma befika kwena bethale asidlala icricket.
Mfethu yabo kwakhona umuntu owaziwayo nasesigele ukuthi lo
Hawu kodwa wakwangixoxela nje indaba lokhu njana nolokhu njana esesteri esigela. Ametriki.
Yeka ama-file. Skip ama-files.
Angithi ngikhuluma yona indaba ukuthi
Ulokhunjana lo. Yakhumbula ungixoxela isitori sokuthi isesteri la lo.
Hayilo. Nanga sengigandela uzungu manje ngawasa.
Nkanyiso.
Ebona ngigandela. Gandela itori.
Yeah, no, but
Kandela umunye uvila ophela fast. No, I just wanted to understand why am I out a cheater, and because sometimes lento lena igcina isiba ngazuthi siba nenkinga kanti sometimes
it's men.
Yeah, ithina, and I'm asking this, and I'm interested in this because Konu Bram, I was having this conversation with wayichaza kahle even ngendlela yeBhayibheli yabo yena ukuthi lento iqala even kwasekuboneni Jack kwasekuboneni nje uthi ujola ubhizi kunabantu olibele ubabona ukuthi bahle la ushadile la ubhizi ubona abantu abashisayo kanjani mfethu kanjani
so manje uzocimela
uno love of my life when abasha every day izolo kubona love of my life akho Florida kusasa khona omunye futhi love of my life
I think mostly so guy title kanjani so wrong ilaba khona inkinga but more nomuntu wakho mfethu abantu bahle ngaphandle uzobabona but bese kube yiloko nje uyabona
self discipline
angithi izolo but masuqala mfethu so ufuna something nani so love of your life then
that's dangerous.
Umbono umuntu ubona uthi yabona lo ngamshata kusasa nakusasa uthi ubona umunye uthi lo ngamshila wife material.
No, you see, let's make it clear for my viewer, ne?
Yeah.
Cheating is a no.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for cheating. Whether you're a man or a woman, there's no excuse for cheating. The reality is that people will cheat. It's a reality. And they can have whatever reason they want to have. But it's not a good thing. If you feel like, let's say you are not married yet, and you're born to know, I want to have multiple wives, go and research that way. I'm saying it's not the best way. But go and try. It could work for you. But for me personally, it's a no. One man, one woman. And the thing that people, I think they don't understand is that there's no perfect marriage. So even that guy, Onemali, he's providing, and his wife is, he's not alone. You see, that is the reality of, I think, okay, this is the best way I can put it. You are not perfect as the man. Now, because you are not perfect, you can't expect the wife to be perfect for you. The whole point of marriage is for two imperfect people to find a way to coexist. There is an order from a Christian point of view of how that union must look like. But it is not an easy task. It is very difficult. And the reward of it is for those who will stay and almost labor in it. It's almost like someone who worked 18 years to build a career. In those 18 years, they were very difficult. There were times when they probably said, no, I'm quitting. But what they saw was the pinnacle of what it could be or what they could become. And they pursued, they go through a bad manager, a bad day at work, underpaid. You keep pushing because you're building towards something better. The same way for a man and a woman in marriage. Not every day is good. Not every day is bad. But when you're making the vow, you're saying through better or worse, till death do us apart. That means you're understanding that there's going to be days where you don't want to be in that marriage. There'll even be a season you don't love her. That's why I think in that viral clip where I said, don't marry who you love who you marry. The reason I said that is because the marriage in love is a command. It's not a feeling. You see, and if you married based on feelings, feelings change. But the command of love is one that you have to do. That's why I brought Christ. Christ says marriage is like the relationship between Christ and the church. Every day I pray, every day I sin, consistently. But I still want Christ to take me to heaven. I still want to be with Christ. And he said, we must be like Christ, men, in marriage. Christ died for the church. So as a man, you must be ready to die for your wife. You must die for her mood swings, her tastes, her misunderstandings, her arguments. You must be ready to die, or else do not get married.
Azongincanyaka ama-cherry.
Yona, ubuyile, come
Sizokaqala bese siyathuya. Hayi yona siyifakayo phela
Uzoba i-ladies'
Nkanyiso.
Ujack uzoba i-ladies' favorites.
Uhamba ngalo la inje uze kahle.
No. It's a truth, though.
Just my face.
But it also goes two ways. There's also the side of the woman.
Yeah.
Wait, which is yeah. You
Who's
can-
that now?
yeah.
Who's that now?
I know. Let's first expand on the man.
Right?
So I'm gonna touch both because the mistake I made in the last podcast is I only spoke about women. You see, they thought babe rights. No,
Useyazi la
siyacorrecta manje sihamba kancane kancane.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
No, check out understand.
What's
Yeah,
that
you know,
now?
you know one thing. I think the misunderstanding about podcasts is that people usually take things out of context. You understand?
Yeah.
So you don't have to be scared because what we have to push for is abantu ukuthi bayibuke episode yonke so that they can get context. So this was said because yabo. So ungasabi ngoba ucabanga ukuthi hayi bazothi you never said anything wrong. Yes, you are trying. You know me every day, bro. All around the country they stop me but if nesambe siyodla amasimbi yabo. That's what I said. You understand? That's what I said once. And people don't forget that. But in reality is every time when I meet them I explain. Oh, this was said because it means if you continue to say that to me, it means you never watched the episode.
podcast,
Yeah. And then I explained because I said that. No, actually, I was quoting someone. Or maybe in other instances, mhlampe bawu-2. I know, I usually you must say, I know. But correct on the board, so there's no point for me to correct the other one because you understand?
Yeah.
So they will always say that. And one thing I've always said is, I think we said it last time on a previous episode. People, it's easy for people to judge you. Maybe they say whatever on the comments. But you know when they meet you, it's a different story.
It's a different story for
Yeah.
sure. I know. But back to men. Ngizwile.
It goes to check bamsabisa kakhulu makashule and I understand. But into emhlungu ke nge-podcast check ukuthi abantu
Yeah.
they can misquote you intentionally.
Even if they watch
And
the
they-
whole episode.
Yeah, they can
but
quote
still-
you out of context
Yeah.
For sure,
intentionally.
for sure.
So it's not like ungayibalekela. Yabo manje ungakhuluma kahle ngabantu besifazane kube yibona bathi nango kusekuqaleni say yeah.
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 For sure. I know, Mina, I'm not, again, you see, I'm just doing my due diligence here. I have no sides in this war. Mina, I'm just laying out truths,
Yeah.
you see. And the first truth is that a man must be ready to die for your woman. If you're saying you're ready for marriage, are you ready to die for mood swings?
Yazi khona enye into engingayingazama ukuyi-analyze check. On that point. Ubani kumele asarende unkosikazi noma umjide kumele asarende? Husband.
I know, bengizofika khona.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
now, you see, so in that scripture that I'm using to illustrate this,
Yeah.
it says, men, love your wives. Wives, submit to your husband. You see? And the issue with men is they demand submission, but they don't know how to love. You see, it's almost like when you're playing music and you hit a note that is not part of the family, it destroys the entire sound. Because when you're playing music, there's certain notes that harmonize. They create a harmony, and it's even beautiful to the ear. And a great musician is someone who knows how to lay those notes in a specific way. You see, now in the illustration of marriage, you see, I always refer back to Christ. There's a reason they made a man. They compared you to Christ. Even in my relationship with Christ, Christ is the one that died for me. First, you see, as I'm living my life of sin, Christ was dying for me. You see, so what I'm trying to say to men is that to assume the role of head comes with its burden. You can't say, I want to be the head of the house, but you expect things to just happen. To be the head comes with a cost. The cost is maybe teaching someone something. The cost is laying a foundation. The cost is loving. Those are costs because you want to love someone that submits. But now it's telling you love first. Give them the space to submit. Maybe she's not submitting because uyakusaba. Like you don't show her any love, but you want her to submit. She's scared you're going to abuse her because you're not showing anything that says, this is a man I can submit to. But when you're now demanding this submission, you are quoting verses for this submission. But where is the love? I don't know if I answered your question.
Ngiyakuzwa. My concern is someone Jack over there wajolisa high school wangene university kune relationship yakhe wabese washada. Like when do they get that knowledge or that wisdom so that they can at least build that foundation? Because khona omunye umuntu kanjalo, yes, masikhuluma nomuntu ongekashadi manje okanye ongekajoli, singamchazela ukuthi mfethu uqala ngokubuild the foundation so that umuntu wakho they can submit. And we know ukuthi sometimes emisebenzini kuba nzima if i-leader yona ingayi-create environment la sokwazi ukuthi thina submit khona as ama-employees, yabo, even at work, even nasekhaya into kanjalo futhi. Yeah.
Okay, and then let me just add a disclaimer to that first point.
Yeah.
So now, what I'm not saying is women must now go to their husband and say, Ujek ute. You must first love me before I submit. I'm sure. I'm speaking to the man. I'm telling the man this.
Yeah.
But to the woman, I'm saying, it's easier for your man to love you when you submit.
Manje sivele inkukhu neqanda ke. It's a chicken and the egg.
Yeah,
ngempela. Cover isidinga ukuhlakanipha kwangempela ke manje.
No. Let me say it like this.
But do you get what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yeah.
Let me say it like this. The problem in relationships is, even right now, the man wants the correction for the woman, and the woman wants the correction for the man. If you focused on your correction, things would change. What I'm trying to say is that in a relationship, if your focus is how your woman needs to change, if in your relationship it's still, she needs to do better, she needs to make me lunch, she needs to wake up, it's going to be a very difficult relationship. You must work on you. You see, once you start saying, how can I be a man she wants to wake up 5 a.m. for? It's a different, it changes, it gives you something to do. Because alternatively, what you're trying to do is trying to change her. It's difficult to change yourself. How much more will it be to change someone else? So what you need to take from this is your part. So if you're a man, what I'm saying to you is love your wife. Whether she's submitting or not, love her first. Now, if you're a woman and you're listening to this, whether your man is loving you or not, practice submission. The woman must take their part. The man must take their part. The woman mustn't take the part where I said the man must love and go give the man. No. Focus on the part relevant to you. And believe, because remember, it's not smooth sailing. It's not, I submitted today, or it's not, tomorrow she's going to submit. No.
awuchazele submission nje because mhlambe khona umuntu onga-misinterpret because sebe-submithiwe bahlukunyezwa abanye babo.
And a lot of them will be.
Yeah, and they've submitted and they've been taken advantage of.
And there's also men who have loved and their women have never submitted.
Yeah.
He's poured his heart out to this woman, and this woman keeps walking on top of him.
Yeah.
And the same, there's women who, by nature, honored their husband, but the husband, in return, showed cruelty. So, let me first answer that question of trying to elaborate what submission is, right? In the context of marriage, I will give an analogy so that it makes sense. Submission is the respect you give a CEO as a normal employee at the office. That's what submission looks like.
Umfundisi esontweni.
Yes, that's what submission.
No.
In the house. All right, no, he's right.
Kanyiso.
All right, me.
Why you should judge?
Kanyiso. Why nisho njalo? Ekuse unkosikazi wakhe angabona i-shirt elihle esitolo athi ngamfanele umfundisi ukhona wena.
No, all right, but as your wife for sure, but
ufila kanjani bra wakho? Ufila kanjani bra wami umama sekephethe ishirt seketayela baba?
Ngabona izinto for ubaba.
Ulise sontweni. Uthi ubaba qala. Lapho uyalithanda isonto makho and uyazi ukuthi indlela yokuyezulwini isonto. So manje mangingathenga leli shirt ngilinike ubaba siyangena nezingane zami ezulwini.
But the first person of emqondisi
Ubaba.
ngamfanele ubaba.
Not husband. Usaze kahle nje ngiyabonga Thethi.
I know, that's what I was saying. I don't disagree with him.
Yeah.
In the household, I'm just giving you an answer. What does that submission look like? It's that. But even if you look at a company, as much as the CEO has more power than the manager, for example, they have equal rights. I want to stress this thing because there are men who don't understand that women and men are equal. They're not the same. They're not physically the same. They don't have the same abilities. But in rights, the right to exist of a woman is equal to the right to exist of a man. Outside of marriage, their offices are the same. It can be differentiated by your parents that can say, no, you will do the gardening, you will do the kitchen. But in terms of life, they have equal rights to life as you, a man. That's why they're allowed to vote the same way you're allowed to vote. The problem men have is they think to be the head means you have more rights in life than a woman. There is no such thing. That is not biblical, it's not constitutional. But it's an idea in many cultures. Now, in marriage, it's different because it's similar to a company. That in a company, you can have a CEO and you can have a manager and you can have employees. All of these people do not have the same power, no authority, right? They all have the right to live. But in the office, there's certain places where the employee doesn't vote. He doesn't have a right to vote on high-level matters. You get what I'm saying? Similarly in marriage. So men today conflate that idea to think that men somehow in life have a larger right than women. That's what I'm opposing. I'm saying no. Outside of marriage, men and women are fine in terms of rights. Not abilities, not our power, not our money, but as human beings. We're all human beings. That's the point I was making. The danger is in many societies, men look down on women because of that misconception, where you hear a man saying, I can never be led by a woman. No, go to the office. Your CEO is a woman. You're going to be led by that woman that's a CEO because that's her role. You see, that's the point I'm trying to make. A lot of men, they struggle to be led by women because they're just women. That's dangerous. Because in the workplace, it's based on ability. That woman could be a great leader, and you must submit to authority at work. Outside of work, you're like just peers. In marriage, it's the same. Your husband can be weak, but he's your husband. You can be more intelligent than your husband. But inside of your marriage, he is your head if you are a Christian. If you subscribe to the Christian values, you see. And him being the head does not mean he's always right. No, the same way a CEO, he can be wrong and we can tell him, oh, sorry, this thing won't work this way, you know. But we always respect Uguti. No, that is our CEO. That's the point I was making.
What was that?
Ngiyakuzwa ucheck.
No, usuke ngathi ufuna ukukhuluma.
Nami ngibona ngathi ufuna ukukhuluma.
No check.
Noma uphumile ethini ufuna ukukhuluma noma uphume kakhulu kwenu.
No, hayi ukhulumile check. Hayi singazi.
Sesikhuluma kakhulu ngama-relationship.
No, ivale.
Yeah, ivale kakhulu.
Ivale.
Check awusiza abantu bafuna ukwenza imali bethu. okanye basizeke babe ne self discipline ke. I-out where do we start?
Focus ema out.
Yeah, focus ema out yes. Where do we start the self discipline? Yabo?
All right.
And yeah.
Okay. So let's take it from this way.
Are you self disciplined?
Yeah, we're going with self-discipline.
Gisho when are you self disciplined?
To the best of my abilities.
Thank you.
You believe so?
Yeah, it's not okay. So it's not binary. It's not you are self-disciplined or you're not. There's no. It's more like a curve. There's people who are more disciplined, like people who do marathons. They have to train. There's no way you're just gonna wake up and run 100K. There's a discipline that they've adopted. Their training, the way they eat, etc. On the discipline curve, they could be higher than me. Someone who's struggling to train consistently.
But maybe they're disciplined in training.
That's what I'm going to. I'm saying, but similarly, when it comes to finance, it's hard to meet people who are as disciplined as me when it comes to finance. You see, but the overall idea is that it's a muscle that you are training.
Yeah.
And when you work on it, it gets better. So, for example, for Teddy to get to the level he is with making coffee, there were hours he had to put. He also started an amateur. He also spilled milk. All the mistakes an amateur is making today, he started there. So what I'm trying to get to is when you're approaching discipline, think of it like a craft you are learning. It's something that you are being disciplined towards. So, for example, I'll give mine on finance. The first thing was just looking at my bank balance. That was the first thing I had to discipline myself on. I must check my bank balance in the morning and at night. Did I make money today or did I just spend money today? Simplest accounting you can do. If we get 700, I slept with 800. I made 100. You see, basics. And I've mastered that. And I'm like, okay, I can do a spreadsheet. What did I spend on? Oh, I've mastered that. Okay, I can now budget. What do I plan to spend next month? Not just spend and then track, you see? And I grew in that. It's the same way a person who was running. He first started with 5K. Wabona to 5K is now easier. Washao 10K. 10K became easy, 15K. So the same with discipline. What you'll learn is that the activation energy reduces. It never gets easier. No one can tell you that does anything serious that it got easier after day 69. No. It doesn't get easier. Yeah. However, the activation energy, the energy it required you to get started will reduce slowly until it becomes habitual. When not doing it becomes uncomfortable. Like if you don't do it for long, now you're like, hey, no. Let me go make a coffee. I need to do this. Or let me go do a run. Or let me look at my finances. That's the only thing you get. But don't assume that, I just need to do it for 21 days and then it's going to be easy. No, that doesn't work like that. Start small. Choose. Well, let's give an example to a young man. Choose an area in your life. For example, if you're unfit, work on discipline in fitness. Trust me, that thing can translate because you would have learned the trick of telling yourself that I'm going to run at 8 in the morning. The first time you run at 8, let's say you slept at 2, you will learn that it's not wise to sleep at 2 If you're gonna run at 8, slowly you start seeing yourself looking at the time in your life, because you've set a goal. It starts to force your life to change. Then you'll realize, hey, getting was pause the day before I run. So now you've also built a discipline not to drink before you run. You see, each thing you choose, so choose just health. Simple, 5 push-ups in the morning. Start the first day, second day, third day. When you fail that 4th day, it doesn't mean stop. It means start again day 1, day 2. Build that habit. Then 5 push-ups in the morning will be easy. Start doing 10, 15. Build that muscle. But now, if you are struggling with something, like for example, you're struggling with women, start your discipline day. Build that muscle day. Once you take it to the things that weren't a big struggle, it's easier. You see, it's easier for me to go to the gym than someone who doesn't even have discipline in finance. Because I use the same tricks I used in finance. I set an alarm. I learned setting an alarm to do my finance. I learned it in finance, but I also do it in the gym. I have an alarm that says, go to gym, you see. And it's like, I have to go. But I learned that while I was building discipline in finance. So don't feel like, I have to just become disciplined all of a sudden. It's not going to happen. Now, even that guy you look up to, there's an area of his life that he still lacks in discipline. But overall, he's better because he's mastered other parts. Each aspect of life you focus on, once you master it, you learn something. Like for Teddy to be where he is, he's learned to go to U7. Because the people he works with won't allow him to come go 8 when the agreement was 7. So in him learning to make coffee, he also learned how to be punctual. He also learned how to communicate. All the other things about him changed. The conversations he can have, even for him to sit here, it's through that craft of him disciplining himself. Then you can say it was luck, it was opportunity, but it found him ready. It found him wanting. It found him learning. That's how it must find you. The same way with discipline. And there is no shortcut for discipline. There is no YouTube video you're going to watch today that's going to change your life. It will give you motivation for the day. Then it's consistency that changes your life.
Ayikho enye indlela.
Yeah.
Mawungayibambanga from this.
Fana mina
Ayimashela
ngitshela umuntu ofuna ukuyogijima
Hayi,
ukuthi
mashela
akuzama ukukhomitha nje kwesikhathi nje ekseni. Uyitshela ukuthi wena ngo-10 uzoyogijima okanye ngo-5 AM uzoyogijima. Kuyisikhathi nje sisodwa. Hayi.
If you've done anything.
Ukukhomithi nje. Uthi nje mina ngiyagijima ngo-5 AM ekseni. Ama-sacrifices ekumele eshayiwe lapho overtime because uyabona ukuthi in order for this thing to be easy kumele kube khona izinto
I need to really set up ingubo zokugqoka. I need to put the shoes there.
Yeah.
When I wake up, it needs to be easy for me to get the shoes. This girl that said she's going to come over and get kulunga.
Ngeke kwazi.
Ngoba if she comes, I'm going to sleep in.
Ngeke kulunga uzongibamba uzothi ngiyaphuma ngo-4. Ngithi ngiyaphenduka ngiyambamba useyashisa. Ngifuna kubande. Ngiphume ngaphi ngiyogijima.
So just learning to discipline yourself in one aspect, it affects your entire life. And now you become different. Even yourself, you start to say, okay, I can also take on this thing. I can also now write a journal. You free yourself, but you're only focusing on being fit. It affects your entire life. So that's for me. For someone who wants to build self-discipline, approach it in increments, nothing big, and always negotiate with yourself. We always expect too much from ourselves, then we justify failing. So someone, first time gymming, sit up out 30, push up 100. Then when you fail that big goal, you don't look bad because I blew up what I was trying to do. Set a ridiculous goal, 2 push-ups in the morning.
Yes, cut.
That's what I'm asking for. Just do 2 push-ups a day.
Go 8.
In the morning, wake up.
8 AM or 9 AM.
Before
2 push-ups. Yeah,
Yes.
2 push-ups.
2 push-ups. Are you telling me?
Two.
Are you telling me you can't do 2 push-ups when above? You can't do 2 push-ups. 2 push-ups at 9 a.m. Then once 2 becomes easy, add 1, 3. Just do 3 push-ups. Even if you feel like doing 4, stop at 3. Go take Uguti. I've done my 3 for the day. Once you feel like you're gonna go for 4, you're staying at 4.
Do you understand ukuthi how does that then translate emsebenzini? Because now emsebenzini usuqala ufika ngesikhathi.
Sure.
And usuyazi ukuthi oh nanga ama task engizowenza emsebenzini. Mase ngiwenzile lawo boss bana kame kancane sengigrand.
Sure.
And then kusasa usuya improve kancane.
You learn to focus ukuthi no.
Yeah.
You don't have 50 things on your to-do.
Yeah.
Just 2 things.
Lazy.
These
Yeah.
are the 2
Hey,
things. I always tell you, ukuthi, I only have 3 things to do today. Once I do those 3, I've won the day.
Leli bhuku elisho elifunda liyasebenza.
Sure.
Too much. Hayi,
Khona la into
lakufanele.
bowuzoshaya emva kwalapho. The noise now.
Yes. If you want to read the book, it's the 4 disciplines of execution. It's the book I'm going through now.
Yeah.
So hey, humble food.
Awusiphe lona ngathi
Awuproud,
ngathi
yeah.
ugrand awusithi fadla ngalo kancane
But
bethu.
before ufela proud to futhi sibe careful ngofunda kakhulu. So ugcine sesibamba vele
Bakashule, yeah.
ukuthi
Umuzi
umuntu
usitshela-
uzotshela ukuthi waste 2 minutes ukubingelela mase sifunde kakhulu.
Uthi makashule ningafundi kakhulu nje. Ngoba manje ukufunda kwenu kakhulu.
Asenifunde kakhulu Jackie.
I know, but
Ngitshela ukuthi wena una 700 years old. You under 30.
I know. I know, mfethu. That's true though. Ungafundi kakhulu mfethu.
Yeah.
You know how I look at it is, I read, but I'm doing. I've met people who just read. They've read every book I've read, but they've never made anything. That's just dangerous. So you're filled with so much knowledge, but no practice. You must almost read in a way that serves you. The book I'm reading now is because I'm struggling with delegation. So I've recognized, look, I have these other skills, but I can't delegate. That means I'm struggling with execution, because to delegate is also a function of knowing how to execute. If
Yeah.
I learn how to execute, I'll be able to execute things even if I'm not doing it. You see, I went to get that book. I'm not just reading nje for vibes. I'm working, Gaspar. And
vibes.
in my craft, I need this additional knowledge. There's only like 4 or 5 books you need to read in your life. Then the other ones are just parts. Sometimes you can buy a book just for chapter 9. But chapter 9 is speaking about that thing you're struggling with. And you read chapter 9 and you move on. You've already built the foundational knowledge. You see? So that for me is very key, that don't just read because you're reading. There's foundational books that give you a good philosophy. Those are the books you can read to just get that mindset going. But once you have the mindset, go to work. Go create a business. Go do something. Because then now you can see where are the gaps. Then it's not just books. There are courses. Like someone will come to me and say, oh no, I want to be a better trader or investor. Okay, what are you doing? No, I'm trading. How? Where did you learn training or trading? As you know, I saw a YouTube video. This person. There are people who read books, who watched courses. When you watch 3 YouTube videos, you tell me you're going to double your account. No, chief. So you must understand, education didn't end in matric, or it didn't end in varsity.
Yeah.
That was formalized education. You learned a lot of things you're not going to use. Go learn things you're going to use now.
Yeah. Hey,
Emjakado.
Shy.
Bakashule.
No.
awashala.
Ngeke umakashule ikhona into emshisayo.
Bodla makajula,
Ikhona into
bodla.
emshisayo.
Bodla ngane yakwethu.
I mhlawumbe I can just add nje kule discipline. Mina I'm one of those people who are not as disciplined, yabo.
Hayi awukho discipline bakashule. Don't say
Ah,
as.
yeah.
Mhlawumbe nje I'll take that.
Awuningi.
Awungena pho bakashule wena. Awukahle wena. I-out yami bakashule ngiyazi. Ngiyamazi. Ubrawa bakashule. Akasubra wakho ukwazi noezi.
Awuneke mfethu. Wasenoti mfethu.
Danky. Uthe uba lasi. Hayi uthe uba lasi isazi.
Isazi sasenoti.
Basta, la bafisi la.
Mfethu.
First leona mbona. Ngiyadlala mfethu yabo nje cause manje ekugcineni mfethu mina I'm one of those people abazoyibuka and want to take and the discipline parts yabo, because that's one thing I really struggle on. But at the same time I have like routines. I'm not someone that goes out a lot, but I do go out at night yabo. That's my only issue. I go out at night and then maybe I don't wake up in the morning. Yabo. So my mornings are 10, 11, 12. That's my morning. Yabo. So mhlambe I want to change the routines going forward, because I really feel like there's more that happens around 6, 7, 8 that I miss. Yabo? And that I want to also participate in. Yabo? So mhlampe if I take that and apply it to my life, then maybe life can change for me as well. Yabo?
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to emphasize that point, not only for myself, but for people who want to leave old habits. Because I think the struggle is there more than anything. People are struggling to sleep at night, but they want to wake up early.
Sure.
Yeah.
So wena mfowethu, the reason nathi ngikhuluma nje ngomakashule it's because bethu umakashule i-disc uyayincane and umakashule wenza sure ngosuku le disc siyadlala ngesikhathi sokuthi kanje
Unokubatshela izitori makashule la.
aphinde
Unokubatshela izitori ushule. Uma encane uyayo, uma engancane akabangeni.
baba noma ehambe eJozi uhamba namasokha boots wakhe.
You make a nice point, okay? I think. Yeah.
Discipline,
Shule. Ungayijudge nawe kakhulu discipline.
Ikhona
Yeah,
vele.
ikhona,
Ukuthi fanele njengobesho nawe. Qala vuwa emakhasweni ngenza into
Ubra wambanako kumsendile message ukuthi asambe siyoginqa vela angijayela la. Kodwa yalincane idisc, yalincane to next point. Yeah, Jack, do you want to add something on that? Because I have a question after that, yeah.
I know on the discipline.
I don't know, point Gaga is, yeah.
I know. I think he's right.
Especially for someone who wants to change their old habits, yeah.
I think Teddy also said something around that. When you're doing nothing, you see, if you have time, time is dangerous. A little bit busy. Remember when you asked him about cheating and he's like, hey, mina bengi busy. See,
Yeah.
he was busy. Uba busy, actually. Having things you're doing, craft. You see, like, if he just joins a running club, he's going to struggle. Because, you know, the first day you wake up early forces you to sleep early. Have you noticed that the first day you said, I'm going to run at 5, you went to run at 5. Around 7 p.m., if you didn't take a nap, you start feeling that waking up at 5, ulaleng 1 or 2. So it's going to force you to create that. Then you're going to sleep early, then you'll be able to wake up early. So certain things, when you do them, they break a cycle. You see, like if we all stay up till 2 a.m. today, we're going to struggle throughout the day tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we'll want to sleep early, such that we'll wake up before the time that we woke up the day.
Yeah.
You see, that's the natural order of things. So even if you're saying, I go out at night and I want to break that habit, give yourself something to do at 5 that is hard to avoid. Like, Nkanyiso, I'm going to be here, ngoba ngifuna ukuhamba nawe ngo 5. We're going to jog. Well, that's actually another interesting point. Discipline can be outsourced, right? I've learned that in groups, you end up going further. There's a reason there's gym clubs or there's a personal trainer and it's a career. Because someone has realized that if I pay someone to hold me accountable, I go to the gym more. Because he's going to call me, he's going to hold me. So that's another way for people who really struggle with discipline. I always say, find that guy that you always see at the gym Monday to Friday. Go make him your friend. If you can, pay him. Say, Bafo, I need an accountability partner. I need someone I'm going to come in. Because it's sometimes boring to go gym alone. You lie to yourself, you do 6. You could have went for 7, but 6 is enough. We sit down bed. But if you're a team of 5 and all the guys did 10, you were done at 6. Hi! We are push because of the influence of the group.
Yeah.
The people you put yourself around will affect you because you are around them. So even with discipline, if you join a team of people who are running and they come outside here and go 5, but then Nkanyiso, puma, Nkanyiso. Even if that day you said, I'm not running, the fact that they're outside, you don't want to disappoint them. Uzovuka, uyokichima. You will hate that run, but you would have made your discipline stronger. So the same way with Ace, you see, even that soccer thing, there's some people in the soccer group that are not as disciplined as the one who makes sure which people must come. There's that one in the group, hey, who's coming, and he motivates the group. So The same way with discipline. There's someone that you know is very good with finance, is very disciplined with money. Joint partner say, hey, maintain Jack, when you're doing your finance, or Jack, can you send me that template you use? There's so many people at work that use the templates I use. My brothers, all the people in J, they use that same template I use for e-finance because they could outsource. They didn't have to build their own. So the same way with discipline, you don't have to do it on your own. You can reach out. You can say, Nkanyiso, hey, I'm struggling with being consistent, with running. When on Instagram, we run a while. I'm team 5. Let's do a run.
Siyasincisha manje.
You're holding him back. And then that's another point. Now, because you get an accountability partner, it's not his job ukuthi akuvuse everything ngo-5 cha.
Ngisaphost ukakuphost. Ngishiya kwafoni leyo endlini mase ngiyogijima.
Sure, because there's also people that have come in my life where now they're dragging me down. We agreed ukuthi soyenza i-budget on the 25th. 25th ngiyamfonela lo muntu akayibambi phone. Ngiyamfonela akayibambi phone. Hey, 26th. Hey, Jack, can we do it on the 30th? Where? Any relationship lapho.
Gone.
So I wasted my 25th in calling you. It's done. So even when if you're going to seek accountability partners, be cognizant ukuthi bagenza favor because when I say they've got their discipline in check, you trying to build yours.
Yeah.
Don't become a burden to someone who's trying to help you, because bazokubalekela Teddy.
You make a nice point to check. And I think that one is quite clearly a discipline. But I think my last question,
Sure.
not really my last question, but I want you to say something to someone
Yeah.
ocabanga ukuthi ukuthola imali will solve all of his problems. And to someone who thought making money would solve all of their problems. And as a result, they are so poor such that the only thing they have is money.
Okay. All right. Let's start with the person who doesn't have money, who still thinks money is the answer. All right. I'll give this analogy. Do you know the stats for people who win lotto? That more than 70% lose all of it within the first year. So most of the people that won the millions, you either see them on I Blew It, if you're in SA, or in Europe, there's another show for people who won. There's one that won 136 million euros and ended up in debt after 2 years. But when you sit, just try to think about how much money that is. And you would tell yourself, this guy is slim. You know, you'd literally be like, ain't no way I'm winning 21 million rand and still staying broke after a year or two. No way I'm going to get a road accident fund and still become broke again. Hey, buff. Money, you need to understand something about money. I'll say it this way. If you fail to manage 100 rand, like with 100 rand, you made bad decisions. What makes you think you've changed now that you have 100,000? You're going to make bad decisions at a larger scale because money is just a multiply. It can multiply you forward or it can multiply you backwards. In itself, it's just access to, because you need to almost think about where does money come from. Before we had fiat currency, what we think of money, the paper, we still traded, we still lived. You would take your cattle, you would trade for sugar. You would trade sugar for chicken. You would trade. The whole idea was getting what you need or what you want. So money becomes that medium to store value, because it was hard with chickens, because sometimes I don't want chicken, but you only have chicken to offer. So I can't trade with you. So the idea of having something that we can trade value without having to trade the goods. Then there was IOUs, like... Those were the fiat first. Then we moved to what we know now as notes, coins. So what you need to see about that is that in itself, it is nothing. Money in itself is nothing. It's just access to. So having access to things does not fulfill you, because it's all about what you were planning to do with that money you were making. So for a lot of people, firstly, money can make you worse than you are. So this is for the people who don't have money. The same way people win the lotto, they get that money they thought they needed and they lose it all because it just exaggerates what you are. You'll even notice this. Someone who's stingy, they stingy with 1,000 rand. When they have 100,000, they are stingy here. But if you just do that observation,
Yeah.
and there's people who give you no 10 rand, even when they have more, they still give, because money will just multiply, or it will expose. It will show us what's unjan. You see, some people think they're good with managing money. It's just that you don't have money. Once you have money, now you're taking coach. You keep looking at people who are buying more fancy cars and you're saying, I would never. No, you've never been challenged with a bank balance of 5 million. You don't know who you are with money. So be careful to think money is the solution. What you need to build is good character. Have good character with that 100 rand you have, so that when 1,000 comes, it will meet you with good character. The Bible says, he who is faithful with the little, to him much more will be added. So you need to build faithfulness when you have little. You need to build that character when you don't have, so that when money comes and meets you, it meets you a man of substance. That's for the first guy. Now it's for the guys who have made the money. Money cannot substitute purpose. It cannot. There is no there is no amount of money that will No, money cannot substitute purpose. Human beings, we want to have a meaning. We long for meaning. We long for purpose. And money cannot substitute it. That's why someone with 5 million will commit suicide. And you would think, as a poor man, with all that money, they still weren't happy with all that money. Because you still believe that money is actually something. No, with all the access they had, they still had no meaning. So be careful to not have meaning when you don't have. Because when you don't have, it's easy to find meaning in wanting. So a lot of poor people don't have a purpose, but they've made wanting to be rich their purpose. But once you become rich, you realize that it is not a purpose that can sustain you. It only works when you're poor, because you have something to wake up to. I'm going to work. I'm going to make money. That's your purpose. But now once you have the money, you realize that that purpose is shallow. That purpose can't hold you. Money cannot substitute a purpose. So to the person who has money, you need to understand what it is. It cannot be your God. The reason you still lack meaning is because it's either driving you or you're afraid of losing it. So you're stuck. You're stuck having access but not feeling fulfilled. So there's no Gucci t-shirt you can buy that is going to sustain you.
There's no car.
There's nothing you can buy.
There's no vacation.
It's meaningless.
If you're not happy here, you're not going to be happy there.
Yes. So you need to work on the fundamentals. I'll give an example of myself. I had to have a conversation with myself because I'm in the pursuit of wealth. I want to build generational wealth. But I told myself that my purpose cannot be to build wealth. My purpose is to change the world. How I'm going to change the world is I'm going to open orphanages. I want people to have a life because of me. That will run me my whole life. After I have money, I have something to do with that money. It's giving back, building something. And your purpose doesn't have to be tied to mine. Someone else, their purpose could be animals. There's people who love animals. They care about nature. They want to preserve the sharks. To me, I understand, Leon. But they have found purpose in that. Whether they have money or not, when they do that work, they feel it in their hearts. They are fulfilled. So now you need to find that thing outside of the money, outside of the marriage, outside of your kids, that is your drive. And you need to look into your values to find that. Like, what are my values? What is something that I would do even if I wasn't being paid? Then you start to dangle in purpose. You start to see, there's purpose also in being founded in Christianity. So for me, I could take the vision of Christ and make it mine. Go out in the world and make disciples. That's a mission, that's a vision, that's a purpose. So I'm broke, I can still go preach the gospel. I'm rich, I can still go preach the gospel. It gives me something beyond my bank balance, beyond my wife, beyond my kids. Your kids are going to leave you. Your wife, is going to grow to a point where it's no more attractive. Like, you're now old. Attractiveness changes. There's still young people you're going to see that are attractive. So you need something that's going to hold you that's deeper than marriage. So that's my message to someone. You've made the money, you have it all, or you were born in wealth and you're still looking for purpose. Number one, search for Christ. Number two, search within. There's something in you that always pulls you. There's certain people that they would watch a documentary and they will watch it to the end because there's something calling them into that documentary. But then there's some people, when they watch something, it's just, it's not for them. So there's things in you that you are drawn to. Like, you feel careful. Maybe when you're driving and you see someone asking the robot, it hurts your heart. Don't harden your heart and look away. If it hurts you, that could be your purpose. It is your calling to do something for that guy on the road. But you're hardening your heart, you're trying to protect your wealth, you will leave this wealth. Even if I make 7 billion and I say I'm leaving it for my kids, if there's war and they blow up, they say, all my 7 billion was vanity. You see? So money is not everything. And take that out of your mind. Money cannot be your God. It can never sustain you. You need something deeper. So I'm giving you the opportunity to reach out. If you have money, reach out. And we'll
Sishilo-ke phone ka.
Kamchakathula ukuthi hayi mashi.
Ibhale phansi.
No, ayasiva khona
Izokuthatha
ukugcina.
nabafana.
Ngeke khona ukugcina.
Is it signed?
Jack, explain this greed that we see in the world right now, where people are even going as far as taking money that was supposed to go to building a hospital, and then they use that to enrich themselves. And I'm not using that example alone.
Sure.
There are a lot of things that are happening.
Yeah.
Where eMzansi kwafika 500 billion.
Sure.
For a cause, but still and then even in other it's not even just South Africa, but the greed in the world
globally.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe people won't like this response, ne? Let me drink some water before singing.
Drink, mfana. Drink, mfana. Drink. After your question, drink. You need that water.
All right.
Sayidinga umjakathula uzenenge.
Okay, let me say this, ne?
Wow.
Firstly, people are hypocrites. I'm going to start there. People are hypocrites. All these people in the house pointing at the people who looted 2 billion. We don't know if you would have done the same.
No, if you were
I'm starting.
if you were in the same position, you would have done the same.
So
sharp.
My reaction when I see those things is not to say, they're stealing from a hospital. Nah. That is stealing from your wife. That is stealing from yourself. You see, this thing, okay, let me answer it in this way. Stealing is wrong. Just straight. They shouldn't be stealing. They shouldn't be looting. However, I'll give an analogy for people to think about. There was a father who had a son that had asthma. This father didn't have money. And the son had asthma, so he would go and buy an asthma pump. But the price of asthma pump has gone up. The father doesn't work. Where's Zam? So one day the son has an asthma attack and can't breathe. And he's close to a pharmacy. He's asking for a pump. They say they can't give him a pump. He has to pay. He doesn't have money. So he starts fighting with the store owner and he steals a pump. Wapuma fast and he gave his son. My question to you is, did that guy do wrong? He saved his son's life, who was dying. He didn't have money. Now he pump where he born. He took the pump. He saved his son. Society will tell us to say, Uguti, he stole. Yes, he stole, but there was context. Now, that same story, I want you to keep it in your mind. Because for most of us, if I ask you, Nkanyiso, is that guy wrong for what he did?
Yes, he's wrong.
Yeah, that's Teddy's opinion.
Yeah.
If you were the father and your son was dying, would you respect the law of not stealing and let Inganyako afe? You would take that pump.
Yeah.
Now, that same scenario, while he was fighting with that guy, he pushed the guy dropped, hit his head, and that guy died, the owner of the store. Yeah, he wasn't trying to kill anyone, but that he pump. Now that old man has died, did what he do wrong or right? Nkanyiso?
Sebulele umuntu phela manje.
What I'm doing here now, I'm trying to get people to see something.
Yeah.
Uguti, sometimes when we look at the law, right, we need to understand that they think of these scenarios when they're saying something is wrong. Because it's against your nature to say a father stealing to save his son is wrong. It just doesn't feel right for me to say that guy is wrong, because I know if I was in his shoes, I would still take that pump. But it's also dangerous for me to say it's right, because it can create a precedent that we are saying that stealing is right under the right circumstances. You see, so now you're left with a mental problem here where stealing is wrong, but in circumstances it feels right. In certain scenarios, it feels good that he was able to save his son. But now when we add the detail that the store owner died, that store owner was also a breadwinner and had a family and kids of his own. He had built that business from scratch. So why must he die because that man couldn't afford to save his kid? It's a whole mental problem to deal with. So now take this scenario to what we're seeing in SA today. It's easy for some people who are benefactors of apartheid to stand and point fingers and say, look at what they do when they're in power. Stealing, looting, buying cars. It's easy to take that position when you have and look and say, this is bad. However, if we were to really analyze the scenario, we would see who's actually bad here. You cannot take a society that is coming from oppression and give them a system that thrives on an intellectual society. Example, voting or democracy works best when the average person can at least read the Constitution. If your father, when you were kids, all under the age of 7, said he would run the house as a democracy where the kids must vote on what must happen, that house would fail because the kids don't know better. They don't understand that asking for ice cream every day is not beneficial long term. So in a country where you can get a vote with a t-shirt, it's dangerous to tell them that they need a democracy. And then when the democracy starts to crumble, because these are hungry people that you put in power, people who did not know wealth, whose best image of wealth is seeing you driving your Ferrari, is seeing you having that mansion. So they also want to see those things and live and have those things. And how you got it was by oppressing them. So it's easy for you to sit there and point fingers and say, oh, this is so bad, in your privilege. And I'm not speaking to an individual, I'm speaking to the mindset of people. You see? So when I'm looking at these scenarios, some of these people who are looting are victims. They are victims of the crimes of the past that put them in positions of power when they had no knowledge and no skill. Who are we to blame? You can't tell me you're going to blame that guy for trying to save his son. In reality, he was doing what is good for his son. But at the same time, you can't say we're justifying this man stealing because he killed someone. Same way with the scenarios today. It's easy to stand and say, oh no, they're so wrong. But if you were in that position, you could have maybe done worse. And secondly, they're in those positions because of circumstances that were beyond them. It's like telling SA people to vote. If you come with a meal, food, people can, bro, if you give someone 50 rand, it's how it's I'm over to vote. Go 50 rand. Bro, stop someone in town. What are the pillars? Yeah? What is the constitutional pillar of the ANC? What is the ideology of the EFF? What is the ideology of the DA? Have you ever read the manifesto of the DA? I'm a DA member for 5 years. You hear them say things like that. Ask them, okay, what is the manifesto of the DA? They don't know. I remember once when I was working in Durban North, I was coming back from school and they always stand there, I'm a DA, these black people for good DA. And I asked one of the ladies, what the DA? She's like, I know, they're paying us to be here. That was the first time I was like, yo, politics is bad. So they were paying black people to get other black people to think black people have joined DA. So they were playing to our biases to say, look, there are black people also standing with the whites. But all the black people that were standing there were paid to be there. It opened my mind. That's when I realized, look, hey, this is a dangerous game we're playing. So now you want to tell me now I must start being angry because someone who was already compromised was put in a position in a system that's compromised and they failed. Of course they failed. Of course.
Danky Mchakato.
See you again now.
Danky
Bye,
Emajiteni.
bye.
Danky Emajiteni. Shurex.
Hayi lutho mfethu lesatha amajit ukhona na next week.
Imagine.
Sharp.
Yes, sis.
Mash. 2 men gun crawling. If you know what that means.